So I've been experimenting with different builds in AC Shadows, and I think I've found a really strong crit build that makes fight way easier. In this guide, I'll walk you through the best weapons, perks, and strategies to maximize your critical hits. Hopefully, this helps you take down enemies more efficiently. Let's get in there. The key to making this crit build work is mastering vaulting and blocking. These two moves will be your bread and butter for setting up big damage. Once an enemy is vulnerable, that's your moment to strike with a weak point attack for massive crits. So let's start with the build showcase. First weapon, Katana. And what's great about this setup, even if I'm not using my Katana, I'm still benefiting from its engravings. 20% crit damage, 30% crit chance on vulnerable enemies from the Katana. This means I can take advantage of it while using my Tanto for quick and precise attacks. Now for our main weapon, Tanto, which is perfect for quick, high damage strikes. The engraving on this weapon push our crit chance even higher, 10% crit chance with posture attacks, and 30% again crit chance on vulnerable enemies. This stacks with the Katana plus 30%, making sure our both weapons combine. That's a total of 70% crit chance, plus when you do a posture attack, another 10%, so a total of 70% now, just only with those two weapons. So now for the headgear, this plays a huge role in keeping our damage and abilities flowing. The engravings on this piece are perfect for our crit build. Plus 25% chance of an adrenaline chunk with crit hits. Since we're already stocking a ton of crit chance, this means we'll be constantly generating adrenaline, letting us use our abilities more often. More abilities means more ways to control fights and deal extra damage. So for the second engraving, vault enemies while sprinting. This fits perfectly with our combat style, one of our bread and butter. Instead of having to wait for the enemies to strike you to do a block, you can start the fight sprinting towards the enemy so that you can trigger the engraving, the vault engraving, and also set up your posture attack while behind the enemy. With this setup, we're not just critting hard, we're also refueling adrenaline fast and keeping enemies vulnerable at all times. It all flows together to create a fast, aggressive playstyle, and that rewards smart positioning and timing. Now for our light armor, plus 24% armor damage with posture attack. This ensures our posture attacks hits even harder, making it easier to finish up tough enemies. And for our second engraving, plus 50% posture damage on next hit after a kill. This is huge for chain killing. Every time you take down an enemy, your next posture attack deal massive posture damage, making it even easier to stagger and expose the next target for a weak point attack. With this setup, every fight becomes a cycle of breaking posture, landing crits, and resetting for the next enemy, keeping you in constant control. Paired with our high crit chance, and we're ensuring fast takedowns and efficient combat flow. For our Trinket, only Spite, a legendary Trinket, plus 2% critical damage per mastery point in Katana. Since I have already spent a total of 55 in the Katana skill tree, that means I have a massive plus 110% critical damage boost. This stacks with everything in the light armor, plus 30% critical damage boost, and the another 30% critical damage boost on the Trinket. That alone is more than 160. And the second engraving is plus 15% damage per non-legendary gear equip. So I now have a total of 60% extra damage coming from Katana, Tanto, Headgear, and the light armor. With this Trinket, we're stacking massive crit damage and raw attack power, ensuring every weak point attack absolutely destroy enemies. This Trinket alone pushes our damage output to another level. You also need this melee expert. This is a global passive, which means you can also take advantage of this while using Tanto. For the Tanto skill tree, Gap Seeker, that gives 18% armor piercing, so you can destroy enemy armors efficiently. And also the Backstabber perk, so you can deal increased damage by 12%. When you bolted behind the enemy, this applies the Backstabber perk, so you can deal more damage. And then for the Backstab perk, whenever you're behind the enemy, you can trigger a weak point attack by just doing a light posture attacks. And also a backbreaker, posture attacks performed behind an enemy gives you a 100% armor piercing. And for the Shinobi skill tree on the knowledge rank tree, the evasive increases the damage after the bolt, so our bread and butter. And the most important part, if you don't have the vault perk, you can always block an enemy, so you can do a vault. It doesn't have to be a perfect block. As long as you block the enemy, you can trigger a vault, and then that makes the enemy vulnerable. And right after the vault perk, you can do the destabilizing vault. Increases critical chance by 25% over 10 seconds after using vaults. So this increases again your critical chance. So every weak point attack, you trigger a crit. And for the assassin skill tree, increases the damage on vulnerable enemies by 12%. And this way you can delete again enemies much faster. To get the bolt perk, go to Yamato, and then here in Koriyama, it's a castle. It has 4 daishos, and you can get the headgear. To get the 50% non-legendary equip perk, I'll show in the map. Here you can get this early in the game in Izumi Setsu. Right around here, the Teratsutsuki Den. And for the 2% crit damage perk per katana mastery spent, you can go here in the map on Key, the southern part of Japan, or the southern part of the map. Right around here, it's called Tiruke Cave. So that's the full breakdown of this crit build, a design to hit hard, break enemies fast. To get the most out of it, here's how you play. Use bolts and blocks or abilities to make enemies vulnerable. Capitalize on posture attacks to trigger high crit weak point attacks. It doesn't have to be a bolt as long as you make your enemies vulnerable. Keep your Tanto active for fast strikes while still benefiting from the katana's engravings. It doesn't have to be a katana as long as it has good engravings that benefit your Tanto or your main weapon. Abuse your adrenaline generation. Always use your abilities to make enemies vulnerable. And also chain kills efficiently with your posture damage bonuses, making each fight smoother. Start first by assassinating a weak enemy so that you can trigger the 50% posture damage next hit after a kill. With this build, you're not just dealing big crits, you're also controlling the fight, keeping enemies staggered and maintaining momentum. You also play aggressively, time your attacks right, and watch enemies fall in seconds. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you found this guide helpful, drop a like and subscribe for more AC Shadows builds. Thank you. Peace.